Hey everyone, hope you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to go and do our daily technical analysis update of commodities, work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities ETFs that I follow. I'll interject my financial opinions as we go. And if you need help with anything, check out finding-value.com. That's where I dive deeper into these topics, sectors, and subjects, looking for individual companies to invest in and sharing my opinions more freely with those individual companies. We do have a coupon code still active, May Day. If you'd like to join, it's 50% off the first month and only the first month, or a larger discount on the yearly membership if anyone likes to sign up for the yearly membership. So let's dive in. Let's take a look. We've got the DXY here, and we've got that continued selling pressure move to the downside here in the short term. I still don't know if this is going to be a longer term move or if it's just a short term pullback into this support zone there. In the short term, though, with weaker dollar, we are seeing weaker yields. Those generally move together. And certain assets outperform when the dollar drops and when yields drop. In the initial stages, depending on if we get a slowdown, what we generally see is precious metals do very well under a weakening dollar and under weakening yields, kind of the uninversion of that yield curve uninverted. Those generally outperform. We could see selling pressure in some other sectors because generally what precedes rate cuts is a slowdown in the market. Unemployment and stuff like that. So we could basically in the beginning of this move, we could see oil even sell off, or some of these other sectors, S&P 500, the NASDAQ, like some of these sectors could sell off when the rate cut is delivered. So keep that in mind. 2-year yield falling quite substantially today, down about 1.86. We are looking for a break of this trend line underneath us where we break lower. Is this possible? Do I think that could occur? Yes, I think it very well could occur. What we see here is we see a large selling pressure move here, and we see these small up candlesticks coming on down, and then more big selling pressure coming through here. And now we're starting to see the big red army show up. So that definitely could indicate that we are lining this up for a move lower. We haven't broken out of the pattern yet, though. And that's what we're looking for. If we do break out, that generally transpires into gold and silver ripping, is what it generally transpires to. The 10-year yield also falling today, a pretty good amount. It's a bearish setup here in the short term, so we'll see if we punch through or not. And then the 30-year is also down as well, and that does look pretty, we're putting in some big red candlesticks, and we'll see if that momentum can continue and eventually maybe even break to the downside of this trend line. We're too early to say that that's going to be 100% the case, but we are gaining some momentum here in the short term. TYX TNX ratio, we've got a big move higher. So we've got yields down, the dollar down, and this ratio, which means the shorter end of the curve going down a little bit more than the longer end of the curve. This is generally really good setup for precious metals. If I were just looking at this, I'd say precious metals could rip here. They could very well rip with this type of setup. And this correlates very well with the unemployment rate too. TLT bond prices moving up today, but we haven't broken that big downtrend line yet. So we've got things that are aligning. We're generating some momentum to the downside, and we have to see if we're going to break. If this breaks and yields break to the downside, I think that a slowdown is definitely underway, and the market is seeing it. And then it's positioning money for that potential slowdown. So that is something that we're watching. This is going to be highly good for precious metals, in my opinion. And then the U.S. 10-year, 2-year 10-year, we were down a little bit today, and this is the uninversion of the yield curve here. And again, we've got a lot of movement up and down in this area, so I can't state that we're for surely lining this up to uninvert. All I'm going to say is we've uninverted recently here, and we'll see if the momentum continues lower, because this thing has gone sideways and we've broken out of patterns multiple times and really danced above the breakout area. So I'm not going to state that this is going to break yet. We have to watch it. Gold up $28 an ounce, and this looks really good to continue higher. Pretty good setup here. It all started with this bullish engulfing here, and then the change in pattern, and then the breakout. So that looks fantastic to continue higher. Looks really solid. And if we get yields softening and the dollar dropping, yeah, I think we're going to see it go much higher. Silver also ripping higher, 2.17%, breaking out of this pattern. Longer term, it looks fantastic, guys. Looks really good, and this is a great setup to move on higher. Very strong of this handle that's being broken to the upside. Looks fantastic. Platinum also up 2.88%, and look what's happening. We're almost trying to break through that trend line. We're taking a run at it. We'll see if we can break here. Now, if yields drop, the dollar drops, I think we're gonna go. If that occurs. So watch that. Watch yields across the board. If it uninverts the yield curve, yields drop, and we see the dollar drop, boom. We're probably gonna send it for gold, silver, and platinum. Palladium just trading sideways. This is the metal that trades a little bit differently, but we've broken that downtrend to the upside. We could see a pullback here of some degree, wherever it ends up pulling back to. GDX ripping it, up 2.75%, and we are on top of these big patterns. So this looks really good to go higher. Looks really good. GDXJ up 2.5%. Looks like it's ready to try to break through that resistance line that's right above us. And we're going to try to go for it, I guess, here very soon. Next few days or whatever, we'll try. And then SILJ also higher. We've broken above that pattern there, and it looks good to try to work its way on up with silver. So that looks really good, and hopefully this is just one big pattern and we break above this blue line up there. That would be very good if we break above that blue resistance line above us, that trend line. And then XAU to gold ratio, we've got a good thing occurring. It's up 1%. So gold and silver mining companies are outperforming gold, and we've broken that trend line, and it's looking pretty strong, hopefully to continue higher. This here is a great setup. Huge asymmetry here versus history. Huge asymmetry. Crude oil getting sold off about 1%. It's not a reversal candlestick. I mean, it could be, but getting a little bit of selling pressure here in crude oil, down about 1%. We can put a trend line in there, and it really depends on what time frame you use. If you use closing prices, you're basically broken out if you use closing prices. If you zoom in and you use different time frames, you're going to end up with different ideas here. So you could come up here and say that we haven't broken out on a weekly candlestick yet, but you only have 2 contact points, maybe 3 if you just use the wicks. I'm not a huge wick guy because there's hardly anybody bought the stock up here. You're basically putting it on a phantom spot. I like to put it on a good support resistance level area. That's generally what I tend to do. And here's the daily. And then the dailies here, you can obviously put these and firm them up right there. And what you get is you're above the breakout line using the daily closing points. So again, we'll see if this holds here and if we continue higher in crude oil. I don't really have anything bad to say about crude oil. We've got deficits, but maybe people changing their view on oil in the short term based off of a potential market slowdown or the unemployment rate, whatever it may be, that could also impact oil here too, and maybe we do get some selling pressure out of it. TTF gas up 1%, and we're kind of at this support level. I should delete this and actually put in a more legit trend line there, but we're kind of got a little bit of support there. I can also draw it all the way back to this guy through there. And we're right on top of it. Natural gas in America is still selling off. We've got kind of a big surge in production of natural gas recently, and I think that's going to weigh on prices. So we're moving back and forth, and this still could head lower, and we could be premature in ramping up our production. So prices are going to try to slow that down. Our boy XOP, yeah, you know me, not getting any love today. Not getting any love. So we got a pretty big selling pressure day, even though crude oil, yeah, it was down 1%, but we're down 2.5% in XOP. We're at the neck, basically that neckline of the inverted head and shoulders there, and we're right on support, roughly speaking. So we'll have to watch it. We'll have to see if this thing is going to continue lower, or if we're going to get the support at this neckline here and work our way on up, or if the bears are going to win here and we get a bigger pullback. But again, let's just watch and wait and see, take a wait and see approach. Energy service also selling off, but we're right on support here too. So, are we going to break lower? You can't say that yet. We're really going to have to wait and see. Crude oil doesn't look bad, and neither does XOP, and neither does OIH. It doesn't look bad. We're just waiting for the green army to show up and say, you know what, we are definitely going up. Put a big, huge, fat green candlestick there, making a statement like, hey, we're going higher. We haven't really done that yet. We've got these big selling pressure candlesticks lingering all over the place here. So it very well could sell off. I mean, the potential's still there. And we're running into probably slowness in the market, in the economy, and unemployment and stuff like that. And we're kind of battling between the two right now in terms of demand for oil and the supply of oil. Newcastle coal futures down just a little bit, but I think this looks fantastic. I'm bullish on it, and this setup looks pretty good to move higher. Think of all the demand that's coming for electricity out in the future. In the short term, though, anything can happen. Just keep that in mind. And if we do get a recession or some slowdown, it can definitely impact energy in total, all the energy sector. Sprott Physical Uranium Trust killing it today, up 4%. So that's good. Got some support there and bouncing off that support. Let's hope the momentum can continue, is what I'll say there. We've got uranium futures pricing just trading sideways, still within the falling wedge, which is generally a bullish formation. You get a dead period where the price trades sideways for a while, and that's generally when the launch could occur, is after that dead period. URA down a little bit, but still above the trend line. It still looks okay. Calm down, everybody. We're doing all right. URNM also a little bit lower today, but we're still above trend line. We'll see what occurs. Let the trading go. Seems like there's could be some fear in the market every once in a while, which we're enduring. URNJ also selling off a little bit today, 2.45%. And we are above this support region back in here. We've got copper just ripping it. Now, this is what makes things really interesting. If we're going into a slowdown, what is copper doing? Going up 3% today. Well, that doesn't make sense, does it? We've got copper ripping it, and that looks good to try to work its way on up. It looks like it's generating some momentum the past few days. Candlestick opening and closing prices are getting bigger and bigger. And then we've got oil, looks like it's trying to break to the upside too. So maybe there's something deeper going on with world manufacturing than just the United States. Maybe. We've got COPX also moving higher, and this still looks like a pretty bullish setup. I mean, there's your flag pattern and then the break higher. So that looks good. Iron ore up 0.3%, putting in the double bottom on what looks to me like a big megaphone pattern that could break to the upside. That still looks good. Aluminum up 0.43%. And it looks like it's just trading sideways with a incline going on there. We've got nickel down 0.64%. This guy's kind of lagging here recently. Getting some lagging data there, but maybe the weight of the slowdown on the economy is impacting some people, impacting the markets here. Moo down right at support. Again, we're just on support right now for MOO, which is the agribusiness ETF. And maybe we pop back down into this area here if a slowdown does occur. We've got emerging markets, likes the weaker dollar, weaker yields. So we could see that continue higher if those conditions continue. Getting a couple of big up candlesticks here the past 3 trading sessions. KRE pulling on back a little bit. Surprised, and maybe there's a problem in the banking sector with rates going down like they did. You've got TAN, that's down a little bit, but that's poised to go higher. That's a bloody nose. We see lower yields. Seems like TAN likes the lower yields, lower dollar. Lithium down a little bit as well. That still looks good to try to work its way on up. It's a small down candlestick next to a big green-bodied candlestick. Still looks good. And REMX, a similar situation for REMX. Looks like it's trying to work its way on up. I'm not convinced in these yet, guys. We should probably put in a base first because we've been just stair-stepping lower here in the short term. So we'll probably have to put in a base trade sideways for a little bit. Baltic Dry Index down a little bit, about 2%. Still higher lows though. Does look like it could be a reversal candlestick on the weekly. But we still have support on us, underneath us here. And maybe it's just going to do a retest back to this area in there. XHB selling off a little bit, 0.81%. We'll see if this continues. This is breaking out of the pattern, and we've got some momentum generated with these big candlesticks here. And these are just flag pattern candlesticks. So we can see a lower home price or home builder ETF price here. Russell 2000 down a little bit, but it's still holding on in that rising channel. There's that little channel I put in there. S&P 500, it is up towards the peak here. Is it going to break to the upside and keep going? Well, it could defy all logic here and just keep ripping, but a lot of people are expecting this thing to roll over, and a lot of those people have been wrong. Keeps ripping. NASDAQ keeps ripping too, up at all-time highs. I'm surprised that we did break out of this myself. I thought for sure we were going lower, and then all of a sudden, boom, ripping on up. But yeah, I guess markets can do that. And then we've got SMCI rolling sideways here. We could maybe even take this guy and start moving this out. And there's a new pattern and a still consolidation here. I'm surprised that this is consolidating even with this pattern here and the overvaluation, the strong selling pressure move, and it just halted out of nowhere and moving sideways. Funky reading there. We got NVIDIA down 1.92% today, although NASDAQ is up. This is a reversal candlestick, strong selling pressure into a reversal, and somehow they pulled this thing to the upside. Okay. Okay. A lot of this is going against what I've seen in the markets, but yeah, sometimes that does occur. Bitcoin down 3.28%. Looks like it's trying to find a bottom here with these big wick. Wicks are generally reversal candlesticks. You can see you get a big selling pressure to move, and then it reverses on up throughout the day. But again, we'll see if it has any sort of traction or staying power to work its way on up, and what that bounce looks like if we do get one. A lot of selling pressure here. And sometimes you get these weak little green candlestick bounces that generally ends up rolling over and heading lower. Ethereum also getting that big wick at the bottom, and we'll have to see what the bounce looks like. Bigger picture view, if you zoom way out, some of these can be double tops where we head lower in the short term. Very well could be the case here. But we'll see. We'll see, and we'll have to monitor what the bounce looks like for the next trading days. If it's weak and you get these weak little candlesticks, that generally works its way lower. It's just a flag pattern that develops. But that's what I've got for today, guys. So give me a thumb up for the content. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the website. Mayday is the coupon code if you're interested with the discount code. But that's all I've got for today, guys. So we've got a Saturday question and answer session coming up. It is tomorrow, 7 a.m. Mountain Time. And we'll see you there. Catch you later.